In exactly 1 week today, Newcastle United will be playing a Champions League fixture for the first time in over 20 years. But could they be doing it without one of their star players? As Tonali is heavily reported that he has picked up an injury and may not be available. But we do have some positive injury news as some players look set to return to Newcastle very soon. Newcastle have also announced designs for the new fan zone and appear to be pushing quite hard into getting some new contracts handed out to the current squad. We will talk about all of that in today's Toon Tuesdays, your weekly roundup of Newcastle United news, a series I've been doing for quite some time now, and despite the fact that it's the international break, there's always plenty to talk about in the world of Newcastle. So, if you haven't subscribed to the channel yet, be sure to do so. Loads of videos coming out, and as I say, there's going to be plenty more very soon, pretty much 2 games a week after we finish this international break. So do not miss out. Get down, hit that subscribe button. It's free. I know loads of you guys watch my videos all the time, but haven't hit the button. We are pushing closer to 50,000 subscribers, which is incredible. And yeah, as I say, we head into this weekend where we take on Brentford. So we will be back at St James's Park Saturday night, 5:30 kickoff. The game was actually moved from the Sunday to give us an extra day's break before heading into AC Milan on the Tuesday. And as I say, it's very exciting. Lots of fans are starting to get their tickets in the post now. Everyone's talking about travel, how they're going to get there, what's going to happen. Funnily enough, some stats have been released on percentage chance of reaching quarterfinals, and according to some, Newcastle are actually, looking pretty decent, despite having such a tough group. And if you look at the bookies, Newcastle are pretty well backed, to be honest, considering the group we're in, considering we haven't been in the Champions League for ages, considering we haven't had the greatest start of the season, and the reason bookies do well is because they don't often get it wrong. So, yeah, hopefully they're right, and we can first off go and have a good one against Brentford. And I will be doing a full preview for the Brentford game, probably Friday, so be sure to subscribe. Do not miss out on that one. And I will be there, so there will be a full vlog on Saturday, so don't miss that either. And hopefully I'll be celebrating. Hopefully it will be a win for the Toon Army. It has been a tough start. And as much as we have, I think, some decent Premier League games coming up, Brentford, Sheffield United, Burnley, in the mix of that, there's an AC Milan, there's a Man City there, there isn't, as much as you talk about a good Premier League run coming up, it's still intermittent with some tough games, and it makes it tough to get a string of wins, to get some confidence going. So Brentford's big, because if we win that one, it sends us on a high into Milan. And I tell you what, if we go to Milan and win on Tuesday night, talk about getting confidence back, you talk about getting the players back, that will be big. But, as reported by mostly Italian outlets, Tonali's over there doing some international duty. In fairness, there's a few players doing international duty. Bruno, so I wore the yellow kit. I think we need to get Newcastle back in one of these yellow kits, because it seems when Bruno goes and plays for Brazil, he look really good. So hopefully he can bring a bit of that form back with him when he returns to the squad, ready for Brentford. But it is being heavily reported that Tonali will be unavailable for Italy's game against Ukraine, and is likely to be out for the next week to 2 weeks, or potentially longer, hopefully shorter. But what a lot of the outlets are reporting is that he will be unavailable for his return to play AC Milan. When the group came out and everyone's going Dortmund, yellow wall, PSG, Mbappe's at St James's Park, AC Milan, Tonali's going to return, he's going to show them why he came to Newcastle, and now it's looking like it could be in jeopardy. But despite the not great news on Tonali, and I won't jump into it too much. Hopefully, coming back, a bit of rest. Tuesday's not far away, but let me know your thoughts on that down below. However, to spin it around, some hopeful good news is that we do have some positive injury news as well. Willock has been posting freely over the last couple of days at his current progress as he looks to return from injury and back to match fitness. And I think Willock is a player that we have missed. I think he's someone who adds that bit of pace to the midfield, someone who has that bit of extra creativity in the midfield. And if we could have him back for what, as I say, despite, some Premier League games that we really want to look at and win, cluttered with some tough Champions League fixtures, to just have more players to rotate and more players for the ability to switch. Who we're playing? Right, get Willock in here. Who we're playing? Right, Joe Linton will be better there. Right, who we're playing? Hopefully Tonali will be available as well. So great news on that. And I think even greater news, Sven Botman looks like he is stepping up his training and hopefully will be fit very soon as well. We spoke heavily in the transfer window about the potential need for a centre-back. God, as soon as Botman goes down, I'm just thinking, why? Possibly one of the most key players to our whole 11. Moving Burn into centre-back. He's not played there in that long. I think he's forgot how to do it. And then you've got Target coming in when I think a lot of people are asking for Hall to do it. There's actually talk on the fact that Kieran Trippier could well play left-back for England tonight. As I'm recording, I think we kick off in about an hour's time. Could that be a position we could look at for Trippier going left-back and then having Livramento on the right? Or we just get Sven Botman back, That would be easier, wouldn't it? Can he play there? Can he play there? Well, hang on. Let's just get Sven Botman to just go and stand there and do the job of about 3 men, to be honest. So, yes, fingers crossed, Sven Botman will be back very, very soon. And as we prepare to get things right on the pitch, Newcastle are also pushing to get things right off the pitch as well. It was released yesterday, a whole host of new digital designs on what the new fan zone will look like. Now, I did a video about this yesterday, so I won't run through it in too much detail, but I did actually go to St James's Park. They had a public forum, a public opportunity to go down to St James's Park. It was up in the Magpie Club. I did actually post some extra, behind the scenes videos down at St James's Park over on my Patreon. So if you're interested in seeing more of what I wouldn't normally post on YouTube, is a great chance to post over on Patreon. I also did a video down at the Great North Run at the weekend over on Patreon as well. So if you want to see more Newcastle, more Rubenstein, help support the channel, go check out my Patreon. Link is in the description. But yeah, I was at St James's Park last night. I had a great chance to talk to some of the not only the builders behind the new stack, but some of the people in charge at Newcastle of kind of where the money's going and what we're trying to do with it. And it was very interesting. They spoke quite heavily on actually how they hope for it to be one of the best fan zones in the country. You think about kind of Man City having that kind of bandstand outside, but really it gets used once every 2 weeks, and it is outdoors, there is no real cover over it. I think Liverpool and Spurs have even got something similar. Newcastle is literally going to be purpose-built to be available every day of the year. And the reason it is available every day of the year is if we were only opening it once every week or once every 2 weeks, it wouldn't be sustainable. They were opening it every night of the week in the hope that in 3 years' time, which is how long the current idea of it being there is going to be, is that it'll make its money back. It'll make the money back on the money spent on the land, and then whether it stays after 3 years or whether the plans change, but the trajectory will continue to go up and up, and it will be like a valued area for the club. So yeah, it was interesting. There was even, if you look closely enough, they even have some of the logos within some of the photos of, I think YOLO, the bar in town is in there. There was a few others as well. I actually asked, is that because they are confirmed as part of it? And they actually said, no, they are partners of Stack. So there is room for that to potentially change. And despite the fact that everyone's getting very excited, it isn't confirmed. A lot of the planning still has to actually be approved, which is why they had this on last night so that people could go down. I was given a form, I had to fill in what I thought of it, whether I was happy about it or not. So I was, yes, it's great. Let the planning go through, please, But it's also a chance for, the planning committee to say, well, did you have any negative feedback? And they can go, nope, We were open all night on September the 11th, and everybody who came down gave great feedback, and the planning committee will go, all right, okay. So yeah, they did offer the opportunity. So when I asked them if they'd had any negative feedback, they didn't really say so. The only thing I thought was potentially, I said I wasn't going to talk about this for too long. Last one, the only thing that I thought maybe was, could it take custom away from other bars? But they actually said that because it's kind of up on its own next to the stadium, it's a little bit away from town-ish, and that in fact it could entice more people to come into town because they like Stack. You know, how many people who used to go to Stack because they loved it now go, oh, should we just stay local instead? Should we just stay in? If it's there, it could potentially pull more people into town to use it. So yes, I'm excited. The public thing in St James's Park was great last night. It's great to go to St James's Park anytime, to be honest. And having feel like your opinion matters is also pretty cool too. But to finish off, I also want to talk about contracts. It was heavily rumoured last week that Bruno was set to receive a new deal, rumoured around 5 year, and also rumoured to be as high as 200 grand a week, which doesn't sound too bad. Would make him the highest paid player at the club. And you know, it's a great way to not only reward Bruno for being a very good player, hopefully he comes back and shows us a bit of what he's been doing with Brazil over the last week or so. But it covers the club's back a little bit as well if people are interested in him. And one of the other links coming out at the minute is Callum Wilson. Now, it's an interesting one because I spoke about this a couple of weeks ago on kind of players and what Newcastle plan to do with players. You look at a Trippier, who I thought would have had a 1-year extension put on his contract by now, was signed at the same time as Dan Burn, who actually has already had an extension. You know, Trippier hasn't, to the public knowledge, had an extension yet. You look at the kind of Matt Ritchie, Paul Dummett. I think Eddie Howe likes to have that contingent of, I guess, older players, or maybe players who have been around the club for longer. You can even go with Lascelles. I know he isn't necessarily as old as Matt Ritchie is, but still coming into the end of his contract. Could we see him have another year? Or could we see a bit of like a change where Ritchie, Dummett go, and then maybe Trippier and Wilson continue as kind of like the... And I say that as if Wilson isn't... It has the best goal conversion rate of any player away with England, at least, so far this season. You know, he has me saying, let's, put him out to rest or whatever. He's bloody still smashing the ball in. But you still have to say that kind of in the next year, 2-3 years, it will be great to have a player like him still available at the club to... And that's the other thing as well. I think Wilson is... He's going to want to play all the time, every time. But when Isak's doing all the running for 70 minutes and then Wilson can walk on and do his bit and score, it's working and it's keeping him fit as well, not overplaying players. So yeah, contract for Wilson sounds good to me. It'll be very interesting to see which other players are linked to contracts soon. But it sounds like Newcastle have, got the checkbook out and are looking to, I guess, slowly increase where the wages are, make sure players are nailed down if we want to keep them, and give us that bit of protection for any of the players like a Bruno, like an Isak, someone who, could well have a Madrid calling in the next few years, making sure that we get our money's worth if they do decide to go, which I hope they don't, to be honest, but we will have to wait and see. But yes, guys, I hope you have enjoyed this week's Toon Tuesdays. As I say, be sure to go ahead and hit subscribe. It is free. If you're interested in helping support the channel that little bit further, we have 10 patrons at the minute. I'm one person away from a full football team. So if you want to join and be the number 11, I'll be the manager, don't worry. Get involved. It's £5 a month. It helps support me. And as I say, there's a whole host of extra content over there as well. So be sure to go and check it out. Link in the description. Thanks for watching, guys. Enjoy your week preview for the game later this week, along with the vlog at the weekend as we build up to AC Milan on Tuesday, and hopefully Tonali is ready to go by then. Alright, thanks for watching, and I'll catch you later.